Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Coram and Ken Shreve here with a look at the market for Wednesday, April 19th, where we did see the NASDAQ rally off its lows as investors continue to digest some pretty big earnings reports.
Yes, indeed. We'll take a look at two earnings movers today. Good day for healthcare stocks overall, partly due to a pretty good earnings report from Intuitive Surgical, ISRG. In the financial sector, a big gain for Western Alliance, also on strong results. And finally, we'll go back into that enterprise software group and take a look at HubSpot, HUBS.
That we will, but first let's take a look at the major indexes. The NASDAQ here finishing in the green ever so slightly, fractionally higher on the day, but reversing off of those lows. The S&P 500 was essentially flat for the day, just a fraction lower. The Dow lower by about 0.2%, and the Russell 2000 up by about 0.1%. So overall, some pretty quiet action still. We saw downside reversal yesterday, a little upside reversal today, but overall some pretty narrow closes. If you look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions, the spread there of the closes is really tight, Ken.
Yeah, and like I said in the notes, fourth time in 5 trading sessions that the NASDAQ kind of rallied off lows. Buyers came in and lifted the index off lows. So that's compelling. And I have to tell you, since we saw that, the follow-through day for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ back on March 29th, I think the stock market bulls are, feeling pretty good about the price and volume action that they're seeing in the market here. So indexes are just kind of biding time. It's always good to see. I mean, that NASDAQ was down almost 0.8% today. So there were some buyers in there today. And I think this uptrend is still looking pretty good. Seen volume dry up in a lot of growth stocks, many moving in light volume. But overall, I think there are reasons to feel good about this uptrend.
Mm-hmm. And now let's take a look at the S&P 500 because it seems like the action here has been even quieter.
Yeah, just kind of holding firm right at the just above the 10-day moving average. And again, if the S&P just wants to drift lower in light volume here, that would be a perfectly good thing in terms of the market technicals here. So, like the setup in the Nasdaq Composite, S&P 500 looks pretty good as well as it holds above short-term support levels. And the question is it going to be able to punch through this 4,200 level that left side high of 41.95 is still a ceiling to watch, but if we get a heavy volume move over this 4,200 level, that would bode pretty well for this nascent uptrend.
Okay, and we'll also take a look at the Dow and the Russell here, quieting right around this 34,000 mark, which is a key level to watch. A lot of trading action has taken place there, but still an uptrend that is very much intact. And the Russell 2000 here is IWM, definitely the laggard here, still has a lot of ground to make up, but it has been forming a trading range of its own. And so it seems like, Ken, the next step would be to see it really punch above these highs here that we've seen over the last couple of weeks here to try to make more of a dent in that sharp sell-off that we saw in early March.
Yeah, this ETF, the IWM, has come so far off its highs. This is an example of what overhead supply is going to look like when the IWM tries to work its way higher, maybe cross this 180 level. You can see these moving averages are nearly converged just above 180. So IWM could face some selling pressure as if it continues to rally. That 180 level, maybe just a little bit above that, could be some resistance. But I'll tell you, I'm really just kind of focusing on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 in terms of, these are the leading indexes right now. And the Dow also not too bad. It was lagging not long ago, but IWM small caps kind of lagging the market, but lots of good action in the NASDAQ and S&P 500.
That there is, although if we look underneath the surface, still seeing a lagging nature to the equal weighted S&P 500 RSP ETF here, not breaking down by any means, just slowly moving up in the last couple of days, but if you compare to the S&P 500, this equal weighted ETF is well off of its highs, but we're just continuing to monitor what we're seeing underneath the surface in terms of market breadth.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the breadth on the NYSE has probably been a little better than on the Nasdaq in recent weeks. But I think this equal weighted S&P 500. I mean, this is a market cap weighted index, the S&P 500 is. So when you have an equal weighting here, it kind of gives you a better idea of what's going on underneath the surface. And you can see RSP here is still battling at this 50-day moving average. You have the S&P 500 up near highs, maybe ready to try for an upside breakout. Completely different story for RSP here.
Mm-hmm. And one more ETF to look at before we move on, and that is XLV. This is the healthcare sector ETF, up by about 0.3% today. We saw a strong move starting in late March through the first half of the month or so, and then a pretty orderly pullback that we're seeing. So, do you think that we're primed to see healthcare stocks make a next leg higher?
I think so. When you look at all the top gainers in the MarketSmith Growth 250, a lot of them were in the healthcare space. Also mentioned that we had a lot of health insurers sell off today, ELV, UNH. So it wasn't all uh, all
Mm-hmm.
all fun in the healthcare sector today. The managed care firms, the health insurers really got hit hard due to kind of weak earnings from Elevance. But overall, the sector is looking pretty good. And this XLV ETF here, kind of a little low volume pullback to the 10-day moving average. Nice rally off lows. I think it makes sense to at least have some healthcare exposure at this point.
All right. And now, speaking of the medical sector, here's a medical sector stock that's looking great. Maybe this could be a way to add exposure to that theme, Ken, with Intuitive Surgical breaking out on earnings today in strong volume, the strongest upside volume in quite a while.
This is not the growth story that it once was, but it has a market cap of over 100 billion. So it's sort of become a mature company. But you can see revenue growth accelerated nicely from Q4, up 14% to just under 1.7 billion. Their procedure growth up 26%. That's above their long-term average. So people looked at that, and then they forecast full year procedure growth this year of 18 to 21%. This is a key metric because they're still selling these the Da Vinci machines, but they're also making a lot of money in accessories and instruments. So the more procedures that they're doing, the more it drives revenue for instruments and accessories. That was up 22% in the latest quarter. So lots of good metrics here. Like I said, it's become a mature company, so you're not going to see a company growing 25, 30, 40%, but still a compelling growth story here for a mega cap stock and a nice response to earnings today. So maybe we get some sideways movement here, see if it can hold on to these
Yeah.
gains and maybe get a new entry.
That would be ideal. And now let's take a look at ticker WAL. This is Western Alliance Bancorp, up 24% on its earnings report, trying to make a dent in the waterfall declines from early March. And it's trying to do that here today. So maybe a little bit of relief for investors when it comes to these regional banks.
Yeah, earnings missed, but this was a nice revenue increase, up 54%. You can see there to about $911 million. A lot of trepidation going into financial earnings season last week, but J.P. Morgan and the Dow had a really nice earnings report that is still holding gains well. So earnings reports so far in the financial sector have been pretty decent. And WAL, again, you're trying to catch a stock on sale here, and it has come down, corrected well over 50% after hitting that high of 81 recently. So again, similar to Intuitive Surgical, this stock that really showed strong buying demand throughout the day. So rather than chase it up here, just kind of watch for some sideways movement, and maybe you'll get a chance to own some of these financials that have been beaten up. But definitely a nice, strong accumulation day for WAL.
Right. So even if this isn't presenting a traditional entry by IBD standards, does it at least bode well for the financial sector and therefore market as a whole. If at least we're not seeing 24% gap downs for these regional banks on earnings. I think that would really spook the market.
Yeah, a lot of talk recently in these bank earnings reports that we've seen in recent days. People are looking at deposits, and deposits at Western Alliance in Q1, they were down about 11% to 47.6 billion. But they said the first 2 weeks of April they saw 2 billion in new deposits. So I think the market kind of took that and ran with it. But more uncertainty starting to kind of move away from the financial sector here, and to see WAL responding like it did. And I mentioned JP Morgan, which continues to trade really, really nice after that nice earnings report last week. Holding gains, nice gap above the 50-day moving average. Starting to see a little more clarity in the financial sector. Doesn't mean we're through all of the potential negative headlines, but starting to like the price and volume trends in a lot of stocks in this sector.
We'll take it. And let's wrap things up with a look at HubSpot and the enterprise software group. It's got earnings in 3 weeks. So as it sets up around a potential entry and finds support at the 21-day line, theoretically enough time to get a profit cushion before the results hit.
Yeah, still seeing good action in the enterprise software group, and HubSpot has just really had a hard time getting going because, like a lot of other growth stocks, volume has just completely dried up here. You can see several higher volume gains, but it's really tough to see volume kind of coming above average for several weeks in this stock. Nonetheless, it's still kind of sitting in a buy zone here. This recent high of 431, we'll be watching this because we have it on the leaderboard watch list, and maybe if it can move above this recent high of 431 and maybe just get some expanding volume, that would be a nice entry. But that recent high, like I said, of 431 looks like a legitimate pivot here. So still in buy range from that prior entry, but holding gains well and just kind of waiting for volume to come in here to hopefully make a sustained move.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Ken. And thanks everyone so much for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning on IEBD Live, and we hope you join us. Investors.com/IEBD Live for all the details on that. We'll see you there, and we'll also see you right back here tomorrow at the close.